after 2 weeks, this is what we've got, and you put another 2 weeks, let's say we double the number, how long can the Nigerian economy afford not to work, especially within the heartbeat areas of Lagos and Ogun, the gateway and the big economy of Nigeria? That's why. The other problem that I also thought was the palliatives. You see, if you follow the Buhari presidency since they started their social investment scheme, you will be sad that after close to 5 years, they don't have reasonable data that can tell them these are the people that we're giving the money and this is how we're giving them the money. The last time when the president gave this instruction about 2 weeks ago, you saw that they ran to the street, put money on the table as if we're in Idi Amin's Uganda and we're attempting to deliver palliatives by hand. And then you ask, what is the president saying to us as to what is the total number of people that have been tracked? How many people have been tested so that we can even know whether we're truly flattening the curve or we're just importing social distancing, lockdown, and strategies that some other societies who have all the data they need to be able to know where their people are, deliver money and all of that, resources, whatever they needed to do, we're impacting it in Nigeria, hook, line, and sister, without looking at our own peculiarities. Some people have suggested that perhaps what we need to really be telling ourselves in Nigeria is the few people that have been taken in and have been released, by what medical protocol were they treated? So that, you know, it's a bit of creativity. You can then begin to figure out maybe those people that are probably at home, may not be symptomatic, can be symptomatic, can at least begin to, you know, ride it together with us. And
so
then
you don't like the apologies. You don't like the Nigeria's template of.
I think that
not just doing a blank jacket.
Yeah, I think that the Nigerian template is too lazy in thinking, in the sense that it's just taking what they say is happening somewhere else and it's impacting it here without looking at our fundamentals. And I'm also worried about the fact that all of the things that the president is saying and the states are saying, I can't see the local governments here. The local governments are the ones that are best able to help you with this contact tracing, delivery of this and all of this palliative. So you feel that, okay, fine, the president is speaking now as against what his people used to say he didn't like to speak. It's not a style. He has a difference. So we can commend him for speaking. In terms of the real deal.
Hold the bullet for a moment, the fire for a moment, because we have a bit more time to discuss some of these issues. But in essence, you are not impressed by the president's speech tonight.
I can't be impressed because when you listen to other presidents, Boris Johnson he has just come out of theater, and you heard him speak. You see how animated, you see how connecting and all that. And then the president is speaking the same old, you know, Hollywood style, come onto the table, read from it, dias. This is not the time for this.
Okay. What were you expecting?
I expected the president to take some questions. I expected the president to have like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 journalists come in there, top-level journalists, so that they can give him the kinds of questions that Nigerians are asking. For instance, Nigerians in the fringes of Lagos and Ogun are worried as to what has become the security situation there. The president didn't talk about that.
Let's get Mr. Akinshiju to come into the conversation. Mr. Akinshiju, you heard what Mr. Showumi says there. He said he's not impressed by the style of the delivery of the president, first and foremost. Another area is that he picked on some of the areas the president has mentioned in his speech today. What would be your response to Mr. Showumi tonight?
Well, it's very clear. Of course, Showumi, my very good brother, is looking at this principally from the political point of view. And if I should also put it in perspective, his last impression of the president not connecting, not being captivating, and all that, tells me I need to clarify the fact that the president is not a theater practitioner. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And when he makes a presentation of this sort, he's supposed to be properly comported. And that is what the president had, gotten across to Nigerians. The important thing is the message and the content of the message. The content of the message are clear enough to the extent that even you can take bullet points of up to 9, on what the president spoke about. And for me, it shows a president that had been following up issues. It speaks to a president that is also proactive because he's the chief executive officer in this matter. He would have to aggregate all sorts and opinions from experts and, of course, distill them into his thought, and that is what he has delivered to us. Talking about palliative, I think we should even give the president the commendation and the credit to the fact that we actually have a social system, a social intervention, social investment system working for the first time in the history of Nigeria. It started in 2016. We've had governments before then. Nobody thought of a social investment intervention program. And it's because we had this starting off in 2016 that we have something to even build on an emergency like this. So you can imagine if we have to start tabula rasa on a matter like this. So if we are talking about palliative, it's about now expanding to cover more people, and that is what the president has said. We have a social register. The social had handed over the distribution of these palliatives to the state, which is the right thing to do in a federal system. You will now expect the state, of course, to link up with the local government to help in distribution. Because
apologies, Mr. Akishiju, if I'm aborting on that point that you made, you saw the conversation between the leadership of the National Assembly and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. They said they were not impressed and that there is no enough coverage for the poorest of the poor in the country. Are you worried that a lot of Nigerians may not be happy with the palliatives that have been put in place?
It's ongoing. Yes, a lot of Nigerians may not be happy, I agree, because, in fact, we have a large population of very poor, but out of the very poor, you also have very, very poor, those that are non-economic agents, And the idea is what the president has been able to encapsulate in his presentation today, expand the register. Now, when expanding the register, you are expanding the register for for those at the bottom of the pyramid. Don't forget that there are other aspects of the social investment programs, like the traders' money, the market money, the farmers' money, and of course the N-Power and all that also cover other classifications, other categories of poor people. So to that extent, it means that we are not just looking at the conditional cash transfer that has become the major attention, the major locus of thought in recent times. It's this same. The people in the category of Segun, they were more or less condemning this cash transfer when it was first introduced. It was the conviction of the president that actually pushed for the implementation and the sustenance of the cash transfer till today. So, whatever the case may be, for me, the important thing is an idea had been sown, it has yielded fruit, and now we only need to expand on its gains and benefits.
All right, we'll take a breather, but when we come back, Mr. Segun Shonwumi is still with me here in the studio, as well as Mr. Niyi Akinshiju. Don't forget, the president has said, look, this may be painful, but we cannot afford to relax the restriction of movement order by the federal government. We look at the implication because you are going to be the ones at home. What are your thoughts? You can get it to us, tweet to us on our handles that you can see right there on the screen. We take a break, and when we come back, more on what President Muhammadu Buhari has said tonight on the extension of the restriction order for another 2 weeks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.